appreciate y'all for taking the time out to do this. Jazz did me a solid, helping me out, connecting me with you, Danays, and I wanted to just say thank you before we get into anything else. Your time is valuable, and your opinion is valuable, which is why I reached out to you guys. Roots and Routes podcast. I try to give you guys a high level understanding if you've never actually watched the podcast. But we took four expats, myself in Medellin, Jazz in Playa, Akeem in Cali, and Bree in Belize, and said, if you had to go leave the United States, you're probably going to want to start off somewhere that's kind of like a little bit easier to start. And the places that we ended up going aren't on the other side of the world. So a lot of the people, as you guys see, work from home, things coming about, people just traveling more. People are interested in the abroad experience. So uniquely, as we cater to the Afro diaspora perspective of, traveling abroad, I wanted to get an opportunity with you guys to be able to really talk about what it looks like as a Black woman being abroad. I think it would be, I would be remiss because I know the Black man experience is not the normal man experience. It's definitely different. They're definitely maybe coming looking for some things that may be different. You definitely are coming from places that are be different. So I really wanted to cater an episode to getting the Black women's experience in a number of different places on what it looks like living abroad. Like, this is kind of scary for some people. But you guys live it and you do it with ease. So it's realistically sharing your stories, creating these genuine conversations. This is not an interview. It's really just an opportunity to share your experiences that you've been living abroad, and really, I guess, answer questions that some of the audience, people that follow you, people that follow me, people that follow the page, they really want to know, because I can't give a woman's experience, but you guys are going to give each individual experience isolated to you, but it's going to resonate with a number of people that see it. So I would like to start off with introductions, where you're from, where you are actually located as far as outside of the States, how long you've been there, and just tell me something cool about the experience, just from a high level perspective of, I live outside of the country now, and this is my everyday life. Feel free for any one of you guys to start, but that's where we go with stuff.
Okay, I'll start. I'm Jennifer. I'm originally from Atlanta. So I moved here to Cartagena about a year ago, full time. So I had been coming back and forth for a couple of years prior, and decided to make the move full time February of 2023. And I did that because I started a business here, and Flying Dress Cartagena, the very first flying dress company in the country of Colombia, and is started doing really well really quickly. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can't manage this living over there. And not to mention, it was just, it was time for me to go anyway. So I was just like over the grind, over Atlanta traffic, over, extremely high cost of living. And I just knew that I felt better when I was here. Just my well-being was in a better place. My mind was in a better place. And I was like, I want to live this life every day. So I did it. Just left. Told my job, like, okay, yeah, that's it. I'm out. And they were like, okay, well, let us know what you can handle remotely. I was like, oh, appreciate you. Thank you. Even better.
That's
So
definitely
that's
a
my,
plus.
yeah, that's my story in a nutshell.
Solid, solid. Who's next?
I'll go next. My name is Deja Lewis. Currently, I'm in Medellin, Colombia. I've been here since April of 2023. Um, so, how I got here was, first of all, I was in the military for a few years. I lived out of the country before and always wanted to live abroad again. And once I got out of the military in 2017, I became totally self-employed, and pretty much all of my income came from the internet. So at that point, I was a digital nomad. I just was still in the States. And at that time, I was living in Atlanta. I had been there for 6 years. And I was like, no, I think it's time after COVID and everything. I was like, okay, it's time for me to make that transition and become a digital nomad because essentially I'm already a digital nomad. So I was gonna go to Mexico first. I checked out Playa del Carmen and I liked it, but I ended up visiting a friend in Medellin, and I came out here January of 2023. I came out here for 2 weeks, and I just really just fell in love with the city. It's the city is beautiful with so much culture, and it's very convenient as far as like transitioning from living in the United States to living abroad. So I ended up when I got back from Atlanta a month later, I made the decision and I broke the lease on my apartment, sold most of my stuff, and I was here, and I've been here ever since.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that's awesome. That's
Most
awesome.
of the stories of people moving to Colombia, they talk about like, man, I went and then I was like, yeah, nah, I'm not going to not come back here. That's insane. Like, I think it's Cartagena, Medellin. It's very similar. It's just like an energetic thing that's here.
It is.
It feels solid. Talk to me the next.
Okay, so my name is Danays. Okay.
They're nice.
And I'm Dominican from New York. And I live in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. When I first came, I came in 2020 in December. I first visited in September. And I just came for 10 days because the pandemic, you couldn't travel. So I came for 10 days and I did not think about moving abroad. I did not think about leaving America. I did not think about any of that. I was a teacher, a math teacher. So I was working remote at the time. I had already done a whole half a year remote because pandemic started in March. So when they sent us home, that's easy for me to be at home and just to like work remote. So when I came to Mexico in September, it was about the cusp of September 2020. We don't know, the Department of Education didn't know if they wanted to do a remote or come in person. So I actually had my first experience with psychedelics here in Mexico, in Cancun. And, psychedelics are just our plant medicines or animal medicine that bring your awareness to another dimension. And it sounds off the charts. It's because it is off the charts. And after I had that ceremony and that experience, the fear level that I felt ever in my body diminished. And I felt what that felt like. And for me, I didn't fill myself with excuses or with what if this. It was more like, how much is rent in Cancun? And I'm like, I'm a full-time teacher. I can afford to live here. I'm going to be in my house anyway. So I had an apartment. I rented it out. I made a post. Somebody rented it. And a month later, I lived in Cancun. And so I came to Cancun. I was there for a year until I met the Black community here in Playa del Carmen. And then I moved here to Playa del Carmen, and I've been here for about 2 years now.
Nah, that's dope though. Because you bring up a really good point. You said you met the Black community in Playa del Carmen, and then you said, I'm about to go where the folks are at.
Yeah.
And
I was by myself in Cancun for about a year, and it was cool. It was great because it was my own transitioning from America to a different country, even if I didn't speak the language. But I came to Playa del Carmen, and my experience with Black people for me was different than what it is now. So being able to be embraced in a community of so much love and light and be accepted, I was just in awe. So I just kept coming back from Cancun. I was like, yeah, I definitely need to live here.
I get that. And, you bring up a point regarding solo. Jen, did we lose you?
No, I'm sorry. I forgot to turn off the do not disturb. So I had to do that real quick. I'm sorry. So sorry about that.
No, you're good. I just want to make sure because this thing will definitely like not record one of us, but it's all recorded. No, it's good. You talked about, finding, a community that you wanted to be a part of, even though you moved out there solo. And, I feel like a lot of people that I meet, they're coming out here with a friend, but then I meet a lot of solo travelers. And, I think a big thing to talk about is finding yourself and feeling safe in a new environment. You spoke the language. However, some people might not speak the language, and looking to make that move as a solo traveler, like what is that like? Because I know when I first came to Cartagena, I didn't speak any Spanish outside of what was in high school, which hola, buenos dias, mi nombre es, like that's like very high level stuff. But I just threw myself into it, but that could be scary for a lot of people, especially traveling alone as a woman. You guys definitely talk to me about what that experience is like. Anytime, never mind just where you live at, but how do you get prepared to go?
As far
For
as
me,
language, oh, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
well, as far as this, the thought process of traveling alone, you guys left Atlanta. Most everybody came from Atlanta, except you came from New York, and you looked at it as I'm going, even if I have to go by myself. But that takes a certain kind of thought process. You know, a lot of people are like kind of nervous. Who would I meet? What would I do? I don't speak the language. I don't know where to go. TikTok wasn't as big back then in the pandemic either. So people weren't just jumping right to TikTok to get information. Like, how did you guys prepare yourself for this move, knowing that you were going to be a solo traveler?
Well, luckily for me, I had friends in Medellin. So I had a friend who was living here she had lived here before the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, she moved back. Um, so she was able to kind of like ease me into the Colombian culture. She told me how to get around, told me what to look out for, how to be safe. She told me about, Rappi and all that stuff and not to, safety things like don't get into taxis by yourself. So luckily I had her and she already had a community. So I was able to just immerse myself with folks like as soon as I got here. So I was never really solo. I mean, I live technically by myself, but I don't consider myself I don't consider me coming here solo because I essentially came to be with my friend, pretty much.
Got it. Got
Yeah.
it.
yeah, for me, it was, I came here solo December 2018. It was, I don't know if y'all remember, but that's when Narcos came out, like in 2017. So I was really intrigued. I'm one of those people that I'm adventurous. I'm just gonna try everything once, and I'm not gonna wait on anybody to, do what I need to do. Of course, it was like a birthday trip, and I invited friends down, but with me, but nobody like Colombia. Why would you want to go to Colombia? And I was like, you know what? I'm going. I don't care what you say. So I literally just got on the plane. Literally spoke zero Spanish, used the translator app my entire time here, but I had the best time and made connections back in 2018 that I still have to this day. So, I mean, I've traveled, many different places solo. You have to have that mindset that, I'm just going to live my life. I'm not going to wait on other people to do it. And I can't be afraid because there's danger, there are sketchy situations in America. So, you just have to be diligent when you travel, take, just common sense precautions when you're a solo female traveler, like, not going out at night by yourself to places that are, not staying out late, not drinking too much when you're out to the point where you're, incapacitated or someone could potentially take advantage of you. You just have to take those certain precautions and basically just, say, I'm not living my life for anybody else. I'm living today. Tomorrow's not promised. I'm just going to do it.
I travel often by myself. I really enjoy my company. So for me, when I had that experience and I didn't think of any what ifs, I didn't think that, oh, I'm a solo traveler. I just thought, well, I'm going to be doing the same thing that I'm doing in New York City in a different environment. That's it. With a pool, a gym, the ocean, good weather, and
Yes.
like $700 less than what I was actually paying. So as a math teacher, I just did the math and it made sense. It was like rational. So, like I speak Spanish. So if we were talking about Thailand, then I could tell you, I had to use a translator app. But we're talking about Mexico and I speak Spanish, I'm from Washington Heights. My mom raised me to just have that hustle in New York mentality. So for me, coming to Mexico by myself, I was glad that I was able to show my friends some luxury for once.
That's definitely similar. As far as with the translator thing, I jumped out there. I didn't have a community. Um, to when I first came to Colombia, I got invited out here but it was from a local Colombian, well, not a local Colombian, a Colombian girl that I went to college with, and then she invited me out here. So all the where are we going there? Where are we going? What's going on? I really didn't have that because I knew we were going there for tourism. We were going there to have a good time. I just did not expect at all that I was going to have such an amazing time and feel away to the point where I went here in 2017. And 7 years later, I'm 1 year living in this country full time. And it's just an amazing situation. You know, when we talk about, moving out here and, interacting with the different communities, one thing definitely comes up all the time. And it's like, what is the dating life like out abroad? Is it you're dealing with expats, but, that could be kind of hit or miss. You're dealing with, some nice local guys you're finding in town. Like, I I don't go out looking for nothing. So y'all tell me, what does it look like when, you move abroad and you're single and you're trying to get adjusted to what daily life is like? But I don't want to be sitting there lonely. I want to enjoy myself with somebody. Like, how is that for a woman? Because I feel like men, a lot of times, especially now with the whole passport bros scenario, it gets kind of conflicted with the whole bunch of craziness. Whereas a lot of the women that I do talk to here, they're like, I would love a guy that would be here and it's not about that life, but finding them may be difficult. Talk to me. Is the street saying the truth, or is it a little bit different?
I would say in Colombia, Medellin specifically, finding a guy that's not on that type of like the passport bro, even like they be incognito as well. Like sometimes they may not boast about being a passport bro, but they have that intention. But finding somebody that's not into that is like a needle in a haystack. I have dated expats here. I haven't dated any locals here. I have dated a few black expats, whether they be black from the UK or Europe, American. But I've only really dated like one guy that was like not into that. One, I've been here since April, and I've pretty much, been single the whole entire time, which is very new for me coming from Atlanta. It's very new because in Atlanta, you throw a rock and you gonna hit a black man. So, and that's what I'm attracted to. So it's like, here, essentially I would like that, but it's finding to be very, very, very difficult.
Um, okay, so from my perspective, here in Cartagena, I don't date expats for a couple of reasons. And I definitely don't date anyone that's traveling here. We're cool, like we're friends. But I know what your preference is, and I know I'm not it. Like, and that's just reality. And I don't have any problem with that, when it comes to the passport bros, like, hey, do you. Um, but I have dated several locals over the years. So um it's hard to find genuine connections from the locals because, of course, you have to worry about ulterior motives. Um, but I have made, connection with, very genuine guys. So who would rather walk off a bridge than ask me for anything, or, because there's always this perception that, you're American living in Colombia, you're somehow rich, that you have a lot of money. And that's not it. That's not it. And we're not doing any of that over here. So, so yeah, that was the challenge at first, but I've been lucky enough to meet someone who is absolutely 100% genuine and has proven that over and over again to me. So, and he's Colombian, Cartagena, born and raised.
So it's possible, is what you're saying.
It is absolutely possible. Yeah. Now, when I tell my girlfriends that come down here and visit, they're like, "Oh, what's dating like?" I'm like, "Oh, it's fun. It's really fun." Like, but if you're looking for a rich man, that's not gonna happen.
Unless he's
If you're
like,
looking for someone to treat you well, and treat you well and respect you, like Colombian men are very different from the men in the United States. And I love my brother. I have 4 sons, so I don't bash black men at all. But I just know that they view us as women very differently. They hold us in a very high regard. And I feel that every day, and I've been feeling it, for years since I've been here. So
Interesting. And I want to point something out though, because both Deja and Jennifer are in Colombia. However, Deja and I, we live in Medellin. There are definitely Afro-Colombians here, but they are from the coast. They're not originally from here. Whereas in Cartagena, the Afro population is very, very abundant. So
that's
take that into
I
consideration.
dated in Colombia because I don't really see a lot of Afro-Colombian men, not like in the spaces that I'm in. I don't see a lot of them. Only like if I go to a party, I might see them, but I don't see them like in the grocery store.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
So they're not even.
Yeah.
That's what you're seeing.
Not here, no. It's like I would say it's like 20% Afro, 80% regular.
What's up, y'all? I
Hi.
know I'm late. I'm tardy. I'm tardy.
It's so funny because you like a little square on my
Yeah, so
on my.
I was like, what's
It's
going
like
on
the
over there?
tiniest square. I wasn't even sure what that was.
Right.
Welcome back. You said you just landed. We've been talking about one of your favorite subjects, and which is dating abroad. And Jen let us know something that she's the first one that I've heard. That at least with people I've talked to, she said she dates a Colombian that she met there, and I want you to get into that a bit more. Not your relationship by any means, but just the dynamics of that because you originally came to Colombia. You didn't speak any Spanish, and I assume that you speak Spanish now, but does she speak English fluently? The different cultural dynamics you talked about, your brother and having four sons and loving and respecting black men, but you said there's a difference. Like, what does that difference look and feel like? Because I have no idea, and I guarantee you that people definitely want to know like what to expect even with that.
So as a whole, as far as, the difference in the way that I feel, and this is just my personal experience, this is not everyone's experience. And I'm definitely not speaking on any group, as a whole. But from my experience, I mean, I just, it's the little things. Like I haven't opened a door or carried a bag when there is a man around the entire time that I've been here. Like from people I don't even, it's just unheard of for women to walk around carrying bags when there's a man right there. You know what I mean? Um, just, International Women's Day. A couple of years ago, they had a celebration here for International Women's Day. So I was in the States when it happened, and I didn't even know that this really was a thing. But every Colombian man that I know texts me saying Happy International Women's Day. They had a little celebration in the old city because of, and it was just like another day in the United States. Like nobody recognized it, but they literally recognized International Women's Day here and they celebrated it. So, that's kind of like, um, the guy that I date now, he's a tour guide. He's bilingual. So it was easy to communicate with him. I have dated guys that don't speak any English and I don't speak Spanish. And yes, we have communicated via translator the whole conversation,
That's determination right there.
Yeah. But, I don't know. It was just very easy, to make that transition with him. So yeah.
So
Very different. He's a tour guide and he deals with a lot of brothers that are coming here, traveling in groups, for various reasons,
Mhm, mhm.
and he's in several groups and he hears what they say and he tells like, my girl's from America, like, and they're like, oh, what?
Why, why
Like
would you do that? Like, they're
talking
like,
crap about, and they don't even know me. Like, and he's literally, I'm seeing the conversation. He's like, my girl's not like that, or whatever, because, we're horrible to them. Like, so it's a little bit disheartening, date who you date, just don't bring us up, I don't care who you date, but please don't talk about this.
that is very interesting, Jen. And like I said, you're the first person. Tell me, because I know I didn't hear from you. I wanted to hear from you and what your experience was in the dating life. Both you got to give me both Cancun and Playa, because I feel like you were there for Cancun for a while, and then you found black people and said, you know what, I'm gonna break this lease. Let me go ahead and get everything and move on down to Playa. So I'm like, it had to be, maybe was it a stark difference? Was it similar?
Nah, I don't. So I'm here for a particular purpose, right? I'm not dating.
Mm.
I'm not dating. You know what? I feel like there's a lot of things that have been coming up to the surface for me as a person, and I feel like that's what's most important for me, and also my own passion. As an artist, that's what's most important for me, and for my whole life, I've always put my own life on hold for relationships. My whole life, and it's like I'm sick of that, and I don't want to think of my life of like, what if my life would have been something if whatever, and so for the first time I've been really focusing on myself. In Cancun, what would happen is that I would, you have a little friend here, a little friend there, so they would come down to visit from New York, and they're getting this life of like, I'm walking in my own purpose right now. So I'm just feeling myself the best way possible. So I'm a celebrity everywhere I go. So they're coming into Mexico and they're seeing
Facts.
and jam, and so guys, so I am a teacher. So I started teaching at the nightclub, the staff, the bartenders, the waiters. So I go to the club. I don't gotta, it's like you coming through straight up, they're my students. So they're like, hey, teach. So, I would have my guys come over and they would just experience being with me in a different country, but with no strings attached and just kind of like in my authentic selves until eventually that dissipated. And now I'm in Playa and I'm not dating. Um, I'm not dating. There's a
Tell them
lot of,
why. Tell them the real reason why we ain't gonna stay
well,
down there.
honestly, there are a lot of beautiful black men down here. And the Playa population, so the Playa men, so it's like 1 to 10. For one male, there's 10 women. Number one.
Sure.
Number two,
Sound like Atlanta.
nigga, number
Right.
two,
Exactly.
a lot of them got girlfriends.
Mm.
Wait a minute. But wait, and some of them have girlfriends and they're in an open relationship. So that's
It's
already
2024.
complicated. And then some of them have wives, and then some of them don't have girlfriends, but they don't want anything serious. So I don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? I don't want to deal with that. And I'm like, you know what? Let me get this money. Let me continue to walk in my purpose of what I'm doing. And I'm not gonna lie, I have connected with beautiful black men here. I have connected with actually some wonderful men here, but I already know that if I continue to repeat the same patterns of before and spend energy where I can be investing it in myself, then the guys are gonna come. They always come. It's just that this season is for something else. So when I could
Nah,
catch
that's real.
catch a fish, you know what I'm saying? Then
Hmm.
go. Like go ahead.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
This season is for you. I definitely love that. I love that for sure. Jazz, I told you this was your favorite topic, so you know you're gonna have to weigh in because I know you gotta you probably gotta hold on. Uh,
You already
talk to
know.
me.
We talked about this in prior episodes. I guess I've experienced dating from different angles. I've been living in Playa. Well, I started off in Tulum for like a year, and then a little bit less than a year, and then I moved to Playa. In the beginning, I was open to dating because it's completely different when you live out of the country. Most of the people that, for the most part, when you're an expat, you start off your dating life, and I'm not really that much social. So I started my dating life off on dating apps. And majority of the people on the dating apps is gonna be locals. And so I've always been really pro-black when it comes to dating. I never really dated outside of my race, outside of maybe like a Dominican or a Puerto Rican, but I've never dated like a Mexican, never really been attracted to them on that level in the first place. So the men that I was really attracted to were tourists. But tourists, they just here to have a good time. Whatever that looks like to them in
I
you.
thought you said Taurus, like Leo,
No,
Scorpio, Taurus. I'm like,
Right.
I'm like, well, you question them or something? How you know they tourists?
Taurus. Y'all know I got a little accent. Tourist.
We see a tourist.
And so that was fun for a little while. I did the whole Hinge Tinder thing. With when they was in town, I had fun. They get to spend money, so I never paid for dinners. I never paid for beach clubs. We just had a good time. And then eventually you get into that space where, because that one thing I can say, Playa is a very lovey-dovey city. Like, it's a lot of couples walking around, even if it's temporary or long term. You always see couples together in some way, shape, or form. And Mexicans are known to be lovers, so they're very publicly. They got a lot of PDA going on. You think American PDA is different? Nah, these people be all over each other on the bench outside on the street. So
Really? That's crazy.
I mean, real like, because there a lot of the families, they stay together, and so they don't really get the couples don't really get a lot of privacy. So when they do, most of the time it's out in public. But like once I got over the dating people, I don't even really call it dating. Like when I wanted to have a good time, I hop on Tinder, see who in town, and just be like, hey, what y'all doing? Oh, we gonna be here, and I link up with them and then just spend the weekend with them. But when I kind of got over that, I was starting to look more into, like a serious relationship, trying to find somebody that I can commit to. Of course, I started off in my community. That ain't work. Because like Danays said, it's all about either open relationships is a huge thing in Playa, like huge. So either they was in an open relationship or, they here to date foreigners, or they are, they're not really serious about dating Black women, period, or dating anybody. They just want to have fun. And so when I started to really get a feel of that, I was like, okay, this maybe ain't for me. So I put my focus back on my career. When I established myself in Mexico, it was kind of a good and bad thing. It put me in a space to where I had businesses and I kind of I kind of became like a pillar in the community. So I couldn't date everybody. Like I felt like I had to live up to, and it wasn't nobody who was telling me this. This is just all in my head. I just feel like I had to date certain people. I couldn't just be out here running the streets wild because I was such a pillar in the community. Plus, I had businesses, so I had to really watch what I keep as far as like close company. And so it was that, and then the people that did have interest in me, it was always, which was surprising to me, the people who actually like confessed this. They was like, it's a little intimidating dating you. Like you got your shit together. You've been out here for a couple of years. You living, in a nice place. You got this, you got that. And people, they kind of they created their own perception and threw it on me. And I was like, in reality, I'm real cool. I'm real low key. The nice to say, I don't come outside. But when I do, I mix and mingle and not be around people. And then like once I was having like a struggle with that, I was like, I don't want to date. I tried the Mexican man one time. Ain't my flavor of tea. No, thank you. I appreciate you, but no, thank you.
you ain't found the right one
Trying to
yet,
date
Jazz.
an Italian, but it became a lot of people don't realize this, but Black women, they fantasize about us a lot. Like out of the country, we are considered exotic. And like all men of different races and different places, they fantasize about being with Black women because they get this idea that we, the sexy, the body, those type of things. There's different elements that they don't get from their country that Black women just have an essence about them. And, we get the glowing when we out of town. We get, we get confidence. We move a little different when you're an expat.
Right.
So they see that and they admire that. So you also have to find that thin line between like, do you really like me or are you just obsessed over me? Like, or are you fantasizing about me because I'm a Black woman? And it just got a little bit more complicated the more and more I try to do it. Even dating now, I tend to look for people in the States who are open to long distance relationships. And that has even been even harder because I realize it's a lot of men out there who want their girl like right there. Like, I need you here with me type thing. So it's been complicated for me, to be honest, when it comes to dating. And I realize that I'm at a space to where I have to make a decision on what's more important to me. It's dating, or am I dating for long term? So that means that I have to compromise the lifestyle that I want to live by living out of the country. And then it's also about just really figuring out like what type of man I want. Cause you come in contact with so many different type of people. You got the romantic kind, you got the, I'm just here for a good time. You got these different elements. You just got to really figure out what you want to do. But for me, dating is trash. It's trash. It is. Even in the States, it's even worse. But,
Long story short, dating is trash for all female expats.
bucket trash.
That Jen has found her diamond in the rough, her needle in the haystack in Cartagena.
Yeah.
It's possible. You just gotta be willing or open to it, because you literally just said, I'm in my seat. I'm in my season. I'm worried about me and the things and this new experience that I have, to take it by the horns. Because, when I think about kind of moving off from just dating, like, there's so many little subtle things that change when you move abroad that you might be aware of, you might not even think of. Even to take a beach town. So, I used to live in South Florida. I moved from South Florida out here. So I'm used to Miami and everything else. Whereas Cartagena is a beach town. Playa del Carmen are beach towns. However, the cadence of these places may be completely different. I know for a fact that I don't wear the same things in Medellin that I do back in the United States. Did you guys find yourselves changing portions of you to kind of suit where you were, whether it was the way I wear my hair, what kind of clothes I'm wearing, jewelry? Some people might be in designer bags, whereas I know most of the time out abroad and the places that we all live, causing that kind of attention to yourself may not be the most smart thing to do. But, I look at, what it is that I wear, because I couldn't bring all my clothes. I had to put certain things in the bag and say, okay, I got to leave other things. So, like, how did that change for y'all? Like, was there any kind of, process of like, okay, this is what I brought, but now that I've been here for a month or 2 months, like, I can't wear any of this stuff. I need to wear more things that may be in line with what the local culture looks like.
Yeah, I definitely had to, I would say, bring the way that I dress down a notch, because I like to dress up when I go out. I like to wear nice blouses. In Medellin, like, nobody really dresses up unless you're going like to a really, really fancy restaurant. I wore a fancy dress here once, and that's because we went to like a 5-star Michelin star restaurant here. So a lot of my stuff is back home. All of the couple designer bags that I have are in storage. Anything really expensive, I just put in storage. I didn't even bring it.
On the same.
Same. I miss wearing heels, here.
Better.
Like, I mean, I literally brought heels here, like, knew I wasn't going to wear them. Like, I miss my heels, and going out, like, like she said, like, we don't get dressed up here, to go out like on a regular basis. And it's flats and it's, sandals. And yeah, if you're wearing heels and you go out at night, people, may mistake you for a working girl.
Exactly. That's why I tell my friends, like, hey, don't expect to wear heels here, because they're gonna think you out here working.
Right. Exactly.
Especially because the streets of Cartagena are like cobblestones and like really, really old. So the like wrists, ankles, and everything else. Medellin, the streets are a little bit more paved than normal, but
Yeah.
I definitely tell people all the time, like, don't bring your best Louboutins out here. That's gonna cause too much attention, and your feet gonna hurt.
Yeah. Somebody would take them shoes off your foot.
But they're nice.
Nice, yeah, Louboutin. You know, you see it. Everybody on here see the tourists that come wearing their entire bank account on their bodies and not realizing that this is not the place for that. That's why I wanted to know because I'm like, for women, it's got to be difficult. Designer bags, jewelry, even this chain. I don't walk around Medellin, the house chain.
He said, a house chain.
Not the house chain.
I'm an artist here in Mexico. I perform. I perform my own music, and for the last, I want to say 6 months, I've been doing virtual hosting. So I actually do dress up. I wear my heels, I wear my shoes, I wear my glasses, but that's only because I'm intentional with my brand. But to your point, when I first got here, first of all, my winter clothes are in New York right now. But I definitely working remote. I didn't even wear my clothes. I did not wear anything because I'm working remote. So I literally would wear the same clothes every day because it's like, what? I'm not going out, But here in Playa del Carmen, definitely with the sandals, definitely with the flats and with the sneakers and things that make you feel comfortable so that you can be able to move around with ease for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very distinctive. Like, if you go outside, you can tell the difference between somebody who there on vacation and somebody who lived there. Like, it's very obvious. Like, when I first moved down, I brought everything because I didn't know the weather. Like, I knew I was going to be there for different seasons. So I was like, let me just pack it all. Whatever I can fit in these 2 suitcases is what's going. So I had a winter bag and I had like a summer spring bag. And come to find out, I didn't really use my winter stuff. Like, maybe at night around this time, you may have to put on like a jacket because it's a little cool outside. But for the most part, Playa expats are shea butter babies. We wear wraps, wide leg pants. We tie scarves up as bras, or you just wear shorts and a bathing suit top. Like, that's a normal attire to walk outside with on a day-to-day
butter
basis, no matter
baby.
what you're doing. Like,
Oh, I love it. I love it.
we shea butter babies outside. Like, we all wear very, very lackadaisical outfits and things like that. Like,
Very Mother Nature, very
very
iconic.
much so.
I grew in from a cenote, very like,
My name is Sunshine.
totally
type
tropical.
thing. I'm no longer Lachey. My name is Sunshine. Nobody goes by their name in Playa.
Okay.
That type of thing.
Or
The
Colombia,
only
you
time-
get a bunch of random names. I don't know.
yeah, I be like, look, tell me your real name, because if something happened, I can't go tell them you Black Queen. I gotta tell them your real name.
Listen, Black Queen needs our help.
Like, are you
Which
telling me you're
one?
Black
Which
Queen
one?
Which one? But yeah, I mean, the only time we really dress up is for birthdays. It's 2 places we go that we really dress up, and that's, well, really one, Harry's. Harry's is like our upscale steakhouse there. And a lot of people in New Year's. Those are the only 2 times you're gonna really see people like really get dressed up. Or if they go in Tulum. Tulum is a lot more upscale, dressed up. Like, it's more like the States than it is in Playa. Playa is real chill. It's a really beach town. Like, and I had to really get with the times because I'm used to being in the state. I came from Atlanta. Atlanta, you go and get your mail, you better have on something cute. It was that type of feel, but it took me some time to get used to it because I'm like, do I supposed to dress like this? Like, people gonna think of, what are people gonna think? I was worried about like what people gonna think. But once you start seeing people like wake up, close their eyes and pick it out and put it on, okay, I could do that too. And I joined the crew. I did. I brought a bunch of scarves. I wore the same sandals almost every day, shorts and bathing suits. That's pretty much my attire. And a
Shea
cross,
Shea
body
Butter
bag.
Baby starter kit. That's what you got right now. The starter
I
kit
love
for the
that.
Shea Butter Baby lifestyle. Nah, that's solid. That's definitely yeah. I run. I mean, guys, girls, they're gonna run into the same things because it's like it did not used to be. It did not used to be hot in Medellin. It used to be the land of eternal spring back when 2017, 18, talking about highs in the 70s, 75 degrees, lows at nighttime, 50, 55. That's not the case anymore. It's like 80, 85 some of these days. We just had an earthquake. The ground moved at 2 a.m.
It
Whew.
works.
Y'all got earthquakes over there?
This was the first one that hit actually Medellin. Most of them are all like out in the coast or whatever. But if you look at the I guess the tectonic plates, most of like proper Colombia is on one plate. So even if it's far, it's still like going to like, so you run into a lot of different stuff living out the country. But now I see even locals wearing shorts because it's just so hot. You can usually always tell a tourist they got a flip flops on.
They have
Probably
the basketball shorts, tank tops, and the Nike slides.
That's
Right.
the
And the
expat.
fan cat.
being a tank top in Medellin is like the most insane thing to ever see. It's like, you hot,
Well,
my
because
boy.
most men usually have like they don't. I mean, they don't dress. I ain't gonna say dress nice, but they put on like the actual clothes. The women too. You don't really see the women walking around with like they pajamas on. You know, you will see that in the United States. You will see women in the grocery store with pajama bottoms or something,
Walmart.
slides, and they satin cap. You would never see that in Medellin. These women be dressing up to go to the
Yeah.
grocery.
People
Another
don't really do like casual like that because people are very prideful. Like, where we live in Laurellis is just, it's just very it's very like trendy. There's a bunch of bars and restaurants and cool places to go and things of that nature. It's not like Poblado where it's like really touristy, but it's definitely like a neighborhood for like trendiness and certain things. And when I think about just being in these neighborhoods and trying to move around, um you guys have a number of things that you probably possibly had to kind of figure out how to get into down here. Where do I get my nails done if I was worried about that? How do I maintain my hair if I'm in a different climate or I did get braids? Like, how was it? Was it easy to find those places? Did the community help you? Did you just go explore for those things?
The community helped a lot for me. Like, we have I'm in a few different, WhatsApp groups for expats and Black expats. And all you have to do is say, hey, y'all, I need to get my nails done in Poblado. And they'll say, okay, go here. So, yeah, anytime I go somewhere to get a service done, I ask the chat first.
We do the same. We got the same thing. We got a whole group here in Playa, melanated women group, where we just exchange information, have conversations and stuff like that. For me, I got there before the community really grew. So
Mm.
I got a lot of my recommendations from locals. So like my nail girl was my old real estate agent's ex-girlfriend. And it was a random conversation. He was like, "Oh yeah, my ex-girlfriend does nails, and she has been my nail tech since 2020. Like I've never been to anybody else but her, and she's amazing at her work."
Yeah, bro.
Okay, there you go. My hair, for instance, was like my biggest hurdle. I used to be naturally curly, but they don't have a lot of like Afro, I guess Afro hair products here in Playa, in Mexico specifically. And if they are, they're overpriced because they're imported. And so you'll find a lot of the girls going with locks. I even went and locked up for about almost 3 years, and I just decided to coming out. But it was a struggle because you got there with humidity. The humidity is completely different in Playa than it is back in the States. And, just learning new things about your hair, like how to maintain your hair, getting your hair used to different products, or people would just rock braids. We do got a few Black braiders out here who moved from out of from the States to Playa, and, we'll go to them. But it took some adapting to find like the things that we're used to. And then you don't really live that lifestyle. Like you can get your nails done if you want to, but it's just a pleasure treat. Like if I'm feeling like I want to get a little bit cute, I'll go get my nails done. But it's not like, back in the States, you gotta keep that up every 2 to 4 weeks. You go and see your nail girl. You mess around and go around a man with a chipped toe if you want to. You gonna get clowned. But there it's just like, oh, okay, well, your toenail chip. Just go get it fixed. It's not as much of a hike
Yeah.
as it is back in the States. So I have my moments. I definitely keep up with my nails and my toes, and that's just a personal thing for me because it just make me feel good about myself. But for the most part, it's not really a standard. Like it's natural beauty is more than anything there. Like if you're looking for a natural girl, go get your expat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have I got a lot of my recommendations from locals. So, but most of them come here to my apartment. Like, my nail girl, she comes here and she does my nails, and, makeup artists, all that stuff that I need, they come to me. So that's one of the things I love about it. And it's so cheap. Like, it's relatively inexpensive, so when you're thinking about, I used to get my nails done in Atlanta, and I know every time I went to the salon, I'm paying over $100, for nails and toes. I mean, that's just the standard. Here I can get it done for $20, nails and toes in my house,
Talk to them about the prices, because that's really what a lot of people are like. I seen braids here for like $60, and the girl comes with the hair and
Yep.
braids in the house. Like, that's
Yep.
what people want to know. Like, how much does it cost to get a full set? How much does it cost to get all of these things that you're used to doing, even if you wanted to come and live exactly and keep the exact same lifestyle with, I need every 2 weeks, I need this. How much does that stuff cost? Like, I know it varies because Cartagena and Medellin prices are going to be different than Playa, but
First of all, because it's so cheap here, I'm getting stuff that I didn't normally get. Like I used to always keep my lashes done, and I would get my brows. So, like for instance, like you said in Atlanta, I would pay like $80 for hands and feet acrylic gel. Here, I can get my nails and feet done for like 40, maybe 37, $40 USD. My lashes never paid more than $40. In Atlanta, lashes a full set, like with volume, easily $200. Easily. So yeah, the price, and also I'm getting a lot of beauty treatments that I just would never get because it's so cheap. It's like, why not?
Yeah.
Look at facials today.
Everything. Yeah. I was going to say, you can get facials, below everything, and they'll come to you. So it's pretty amazing.
Here in Playa is a little different. I think back in 2020 when the dollar was at 20, things were a little bit more, you can call it affordable. Yeah, but like my nails, check it out. I have
Yeah.
stones on every single nail. I have multiple stones on every single nail, and I think it was like 34 bucks. A total of 500 pesos, so 34 bucks, which lasts me 3 weeks, maybe even a month, because she's also like really good. Massages, $50 for an hour, $75 for 90 minutes, and they come to your house. Hair, like I said, I'm somebody in the community who I give a lot to the community, so I get some privileges. I get to have my hair done. My hair costs maybe like $100, but it lasts me 3 months, $150. It lasts me 3 months, 2.5 months. So I'm able to, like Jasmine said, protect my curls. But once they're out, I'm just embracing my natural self. Like I haven't had eyelashes in a while, but another again, like 30 bucks. And so it's just like, why not? Why not get all these beauty treatments? They're so inexpensive. And in America, the lashes alone would be $150. We're in 2024. So I cannot imagine how much it costs to have stones on each and every finger. I already know they're charging $5 per finger.
Yeah.
And in Atlanta, that's $80.
That's $50.
Over 100. Yeah.
I'm not I'm not paying that.
I agree with the nice, like,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the other thing. It kind of depends on the dollar. So, last year we was paying like maybe $25 to $35 for full set, and we maybe paying like $10, $15 more now, depending. But I go like my girl, she do a new full set every time I go to her. My nails always last anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. I get full set pedicure, and every time when she do it, she take it off. All together, I probably spend about $80 all together. I just got my feet. Let me tell y'all what I got done. Remember this price, $125. I had a full set that I got soaked off, and I got my nails buffered. No polish, no nothing. And I got gel taken off of my toes. That's it. $125. No full set. I got my gel taken off my toes and repainted. So I got a pedicure. with a takeoff, and I got my nails just taken off and buffed. It cost me 100 in
Where?
Houston.
Mm-hmm.
In Houston,
The United
United
States.
States.
in the
Time to
United
go,
States.
y'all.
And then I went
Time to
to go
go,
get
y'all.
my hair quoted, and they charge you for everything. The girl said I wanted to just get large braids. Large braids starting point was $180. I had to pay an extra $50 for the length of my hair, and then an extra $50 to get it blow dry and washed. I'm like, what happened to the
That's
old
crazy.
school stylists that only get one price?
You
and
said
get
for the
full
length of
service?
your hair?
Now back in Mexico, I haven't gotten my hair done. I've kind of learned how to maneuver with my hair back in Mexico, and most of the time I'm slapping it back in the ponytail. But it's still cheaper. Like you can get, as y'all can see, like the nice braids is a little bit small. Is small. You probably wouldn't spend no more than like $150 going to a regular salon and getting it done, and they wash and blow dry your hair, and it's just like cost of beauty. And like Deja said, you would just want to get stuff done because it's cheaper, it's affordable. Like I get massages every 2 weeks for 1,000 pesos, which is like $55, 90 minutes, and she come with a whole setup. I'm talking about she doing hot stone cupping, full body. She do your hair, she do your head, she do your face. Facials, I get a facial once a month. It costs me, I think, $45. Lashes and stuff done. I've always been like more on the natural side because I had a bad experience with lashes and I just never went back. But the cost of beauty here is way cheaper than it is back in the States. Like no matter where you go, if you cross that line, you're gonna be spending at least 40 to 60% less than what you pay back in the States and get half the service. Like she
And
didn't give me no good massage. She just rubbed me down and let me go.
you
My
know what?
girl be getting in there.
I think that kind of puts into perspective how much things actually cost, right? Because in my mind, I'm not like thinking lack or anything, but I'm very upset when you're charging me 3x when something costs X. Why am I paying that? And then I realized it's because of where you are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You are because the water bottle, you get it from the store, is $1. You get it from the movie theaters, you're paying $6. You're not going to the movie theaters talking about, yo, let me get it for $1. No, go to the store where it's
Right.
convenient. So, I love the fact that living here has really shown me, hey, this apple actually does cost 20 cents and not $1.50,
Right.
which means
Hmm.
it's like happy that we were able to leave where we were so that we can actually spend time and invest time in living and being and not have to spend energy worrying about some things that are not even real. Like those things are not real. They're actually made up. And because we're in that environment, we have to succumb to it. And we have all, I think, been courageous enough to just leave that and say, you know what? I'm gonna do things a little different because it doesn't have to be this.
I agree.
Yeah, you talk about like the inflation and people, I hear people in the States talk about, oh, the food prices, going up. Oh, a dozen of eggs is, this ridiculous amount. And I'm like, where is this? Where is this coming from? I'm not feeling it here. Like, of course, the dollar has lost value. But the foods here still, they're so much cheaper than in the States, that I feel like they've created this whole. So I don't know if you guys remember when there was baby formula shortage in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It
my
happened
mom
like a
had me
year or
sending
so ago.
formula from Florida to New York because my sister just had a baby. She had me in stores looking for Florida milk to send to New York. I'm like,
Yeah. So it just really hit me because there was a shortage there, but it was not a shortage here. We're talking about a 3-hour flight away from the States. What happened? How? What, make it make sense to me. Like, there was no shortage here. No formula shortage.
My homegirl just bought a can of formula for her baby. He's 10 months. She spent $35 on it.
On one can?
On one can.
That's
It was
crazy.
$35.
that's not even sustainable.
Wait, but
Right.
the gag is that, if you really look at the back of that can and you look at the ingredient, what's in that can and what you're actually feeding your baby, is like you're wasting money And even though for a long time we've always believed that formula is for babies, it's like, well, you know, if you really look at these ingredients, you're not only wasting money, but you're feeding your baby crap when it just takes a little bit of knowledge and education, you know, so that you can see what alternatives you have so that, you know, you can make better decisions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you make
You,
healthier decisions when you're out here too, because
mm-hmm.
a lot of these places that that expats tend to live are walkable. So you find yourself exercising a lot more, not intentionally, but unintentionally, because it's so accessible that you just walk everywhere. You can get fresh water juices for $1.
Fruit
You can
juices.
get fresh fruit for like 50, 25 cents. Like you get, even the meat is here differently. Like I've had some friends come here like, this tastes a little weird. It don't taste weird. You just used to processed food. Like
Exactly.
this is what real food tastes like, real meat tastes like. Like it's
Exactly.
like right. And so like I even realized like my lifestyle, every time I come to the States, I'm gaining about 10, 15 pounds. Easy. Because one, I'm eating everything I don't have access to. And I know it's processed. And it's like for some reason when I'm back in the States, I'm a lot more hungry than I am back when I'm in Mexico. And I know it's because it's the chemicals and processed stuff that of what I'm indulging in.
Yeah.
So right. So when I come back, I'm on my fresh juice. I'm on my fresh, you know, you can go up the street. They have like corner stores or like kind of like I guess what we would consider corner stores, like literally on every street that's selling fresh fruit, vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
And what y'all spending back in the States, like I went grocery shopping with my homegirl while we were back in the States for 1 week of supply of food. We spent like 180, and I was just like, that's like damn near my whole groceries for a month back
For
in
the month.
Mexico. So I'm just like, you have to do it because it's just like, what you gonna do? You gonna go to like, I pay this in Mexico, so I'm, you know, you gonna pay it because you gotta eat. But you
This is the
start to,
Wendy's, man.
like I said, the value of things like this apple that's processed, got all these chemicals on it, is $1.25 when I can get something that's fresh back in Mexico for the same apple for a bit like a natural apple for 25 cents. And you really started to appreciate it. You even notice it and you like, if I don't know if y'all all see, we all got good skin. You know that's from drinking fresh water juices and eating real food. Like it's the thing. It's for real. So it's definitely good for your health. Like I was telling in my first episode, I healed my body from a lot of stuff by just switching to herbs and eating natural food. And a lot of people don't realize when you have natural things what it does to your body. So you live a very much happier, healthier life as a woman when you're living out of the country. And I vouch for that.
That's real though, because there's certain things I go back to the United States. Never mind the food, because I mean the food is one thing. A lot of times I run into problems with food just because I'm like, I'm hungry, but this is gonna make my stomach hurt in about 5 minutes. Like immediately, as soon as you get back, it's just like the process of the processed foods. If you look, most things now say contains bioengineered ingredients or products, and that's what you can read. You go in a restaurant, you don't know what they're purchasing and everything else. It might taste good, but it written seriously, it's not good for you. And you know, just the cost of living. I remember when I decided to move, my dad almost like bust out laughing at. He's like, "Yo, so how much did you save up to move out the country?" I think so. I said, "Man, I'm able to keep my job, but I'm making so much more money because I'm keeping so much more because I'm not paying $3,000 a month for rent. Just rent, not anything else, just rent. And I didn't live on the beach or anything. I was 40 minutes from the ocean, and I was in almost 40 minutes north, an hour north of Miami. So it wasn't like $3,000 a month for rent. I had a nice car, and it was just like you go back home, and it's like, hold on, and like it cost me $60 for an Uber, and I went 30 minutes the other day for like,
Yes.
like, and it's you really start to kind of put these things into perspective, and then you get these little things too, like you said, oh, you know, I need my nails done. The lady don't come knock on the door and sit down here and do. No, I gotta sit in the nail salon for hours.
Right.
The massage lady, man, I got a massage lady. She's so funny. She come in, Last time I saw her, she says, Maxwell is bueno. She got a Maxwell playlist for your boy. She ready to get the massage going. Like, she not playing, but she understands. He's solid. He always
Not
talk.
Maxwell.
Listen, I didn't tell her I like Maxwell. I guess she just looked at me, caught my vibe, said Maxwell this. And she put that Maxwell playlist on, and I just pretty wake myself right to sleep on this little couch. But
I love that.
those things are, things that people don't think about. Like the fact that you can, better the quality of health that you're dealing with just from changing your environment from the food perspective. Um, Jazz didn't get into it too much, but she has gotten into, like the food and Playa, like help regulate things that they were irregular. I was able to kind of like reset my body in a way where it's beneficial for me to better be able to live a better life. Um, and I think about not only just the physical things that we deal with, but the kind of emotional and mental things that we deal with. And I'll kind of preface it with saying this is a multi-layer. You got the, okay, I just moved out here. Deja, you had a community that you were like, okay, I can become a part of this community. Everybody else kind of jumped into places and were like, okay, I'm going to start my community, or this is where it's going to be. Being away from home, never mind just the differences of food and language possibly, but just being away from home. You mentioned New Year's, and I spent I was here for Christmas and I was here for New Year's, and I've spent a lot of time out here. This is my first time spending it like directly in another country as another person and living here. And we definitely want to talk about like the mental health aspect of it, because I think it's something that people need to be aware of, because it's not going to be your exact same life. You've got your friends, and then you've got the friends that you've met here, but those dynamics could also be a little bit different. They may not be your best friends, but you got your expat friends, but you might really miss your family. Like, how does that go on? Because, I've been here a year. I have had one cousin in April, and then I just had my other cousin leave, last Wednesday or Tuesday or something like that. But outside of that, I have had no family, and you miss your family a lot. So like, what's the feelings over there for that? Because I know that all weighs into what life is like over here, and people oftentimes just talk about fun and everything else. But there's got to be some times where you're like, man, I just miss some of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem.
Okay, Deja.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know what? I do miss my mom and my dad and my sister. Like sometimes I think about them a lot. I really want to just hug them. But I have such a great community here. I love my motherfucking people of Playa. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's just like, oh, everything I need, I got it. I just gotta make a phone call. And sometimes I'm not even a phone call. Sometimes it's just a WhatsApp audio. Yo, I really need A, B, C, D, E, and F. What can you do for me? Let me know. And they got me. And if they can't support me, they'll message somebody. And me, I never really had that. I never really had people to me in that capacity. Of course, here, you mentioned the mental health aspect. Here, I'm operating as my most authentic self, and not always have operated as my most authentic self. So I can understand how other relationships have been different in my life. But y'all want to see me come to Mexico? I,
Think that.
I would not trade being in this energy just because I want to see my comfort and I want to go. No, 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 no. If you want to come to Mexico, get a passport, come see me, pull up, because I left for a reason. And even though sometimes I do this for people, my vision, being the first of my family to intentionally leave a place just because of courage or curiosity or whatever, we cannot take that for granted. And for me, thinking about people back home, it's like seeing a cloud. Like it's there, and then you see it, and then it's gone, and then back to you're doing.
I hear that. That's a good
Yeah.
perspective.
I kind of balance it. I go back I try to go back at least once every 3 months or so. I have a large family, so Yeah, I do miss them, from time to time. I spent Christmas here for the first time, and I had someone bring me some sage from the States, somebody that was traveling, can I please get some sage? Because I made some cornbread dressing, like just some soul food here, and they kind of gave me some comfort. I FaceTime my family a lot,
Same.
constant communication with them. But as far as like the community that I have here, um, I love it. I love my life. I don't have I'm not really friends with a lot of American people because what I don't want is that same drama
Hmm.
that you kind of deal with in the States brought to my peaceful life here because I'm at peace and I don't want any of your drama. Keep all that over there, So, um, yeah, I just try to surround myself here with people that are, you know, I find that Colombians are a lot happier than Americans sometimes. They are
Yeah.
very happy
I
people.
would say for the
So,
most part, I definitely seem like it. It seems like it.
yeah. So,
People
I'm
talk to
just
you on
with
the
those. I'm sorry.
people talk to you on the street. When I
Yeah.
went home the other day to South Florida, I'm like, hi. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just keep these highs and hellos and pleasantries on. I will use it when I get back on the other side of the immigration line because it was just I did not talk to anybody and they weren't looking to talk to me. People were just asking questions and just they're interested. And they're at least just saying hello, how are you? Like that's just bare necessity kind of stuff. Nobody's just running up asking you for things automatically. Um, nah, that makes sense for certain.
For me, it was a little bit different. Like I was kind of on the same thing that Deja was. Like, I don't need states. I am fine. I'm happy. I'm in the sunlight. I get to go to the beach when I want to. I get to do what I want to. I was definitely like anti-states. Like, I used to get an attitude when I had to go back home. Like, I was like, I'm only here for a week. And I know I stay a day longer, an hour longer. I'm here for 1 week and I'm going back
Yeah.
home. But I realized, like, I agree with them? Absolutely. The community out of the country is so accepting because you got to think these are a group of people who got the same mindset as you. They took that leap of faith and just moved out of the country. So automatically you think different than people in the States. And even like when you meet people from the States and you tell them that you live out of the country, they're just so ecstatic, like, oh my God,
They be shocked.
you live in Mexico? Oh my God, like how you did that? And realizing like it's not as hard as y'all think it is. The hardest part, and I said this before in the episode before, the hardest part about moving out of the country is making the decision to move out of the country. Like once you move out of the country, it's like you easily adapt because it's so you're surrounding yourself with people who are like minded. Now I will say this: I'm gonna speak from an introvert. I'm an introvert naturally. My biggest hurdle with embracing a community is getting too attached to people because people are movers. We're travelers. People be here for 3 months. You build this relationship with them, you get attached to them, and then they off to the next country. Though you may keep the communication, you don't have that. Some of us, we create that safety net. Though we have a community, we do, not clicky in the way that most people are used to it, but you got your tribe. You got your tribe of people in the community that you really fuck with heavy. Excuse my language, but you got that tribe. And so you do have to learn how to maneuver when it comes to meeting people, letting people go on with their journey. You still in your same lane. Y'all just may cross paths every now and then. So if you're willing to embrace that, especially for my introverts, if you're in that space to where you really want to be more social, move out of the country. It's a lot easier. People are willing to embrace you a lot more out of the country. Like you could walk up to an expat and say, "Hey, I'm new here," and they bring you in as if y'all been best friends for y'all entire life. They invite you places. Like in Playa, we do a lot of stuff together. Like we got a whole group message going right now. We planning a beach day for Sunday. If we do stuff like that as a community within our tribe. So like I said, it's you do get lonely. You're gonna have your moments where you just want what you're used to. but that doesn't take away from the experience you can get from embracing new community and new people.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
also connecting with yourself.
Yeah, you learn a lot about yourself too. You kind of forced. You're forced into that position because you're very independent. Mind you, you don't got your family that you can like. You feeling some type of way. You know, we normally go call up our mamas or we go see our best friend. Or we go hang out at our homegirl house. Sometimes you have to really sit with yourself and really process things that you're going through, and it really gives you time to reflect on who you are as a woman, as a person, as a traveler, whatever it is. So it's not quite lonely, but it's just embracing the things that you probably ignored or put behind closed curtains because you had all the distractions that you had in the States to avoid it. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's not nothing dangerous or you feel some type of way, but
So when I said that, it wasn't a problem for me. Like as far as like, do I miss people? The reason why I say it's not a problem is because I have been living away from my family since 2000. Well, pretty much since I went to college. And then I went to college. I went to the military. I lived in other countries. I have not lived in my home city, which is Miami, since I was 19. So my family has just gotten used to me being away. The fact that I'm over here, it doesn't even faze them. They're like, they just ain't never here anyway. So I never really had that sense like I want to go back home because I ain't really lived at home since I was 19. So that's why I said it's not a problem. Like when I first moved away from my mom, yeah, I miss my mom, but we've been apart for so long. It's like we just kind of gotten used to it, and I learned how to cope with it. But you do have a like if you immerse yourself in the community, you will get that support system that you need when you move abroad. I know a lot of women and probably women who are watching this, like the biggest thing about them is like moving abroad and being alone and not being with their friends and young. But when you get here, if you immerse yourself and don't be a hermit crab, immerse yourself, join the WhatsApp groups, go to some of the events. That's how you meet people and you build those connections. Like I've been able to build like a small circle of people who like live here, like they here year round.
Right.
You know, like because like Jasmine said, like you'll be friends with somebody, they here for a month and then they leave. And
Going, you be sitting there like dog left.
right. So you have to find your circle and you'll be okay. And it's to me living here, especially in Medellin, I don't feel any difference than living here versus the States other than the price. Honestly, the same conveniences are here that you have in the States.
And there's a lot of black expats out here. I don't know how many of them and how many of them get together, but it's sometimes it'd be like 30 people, 40 people at one spot that's coordinated for an event. So
Yeah, we have an event tonight. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like 30 some people there.
yeah, we got the same at Playa. We kind of got our black events that we go to that's curated by the black people in the community, and that's kind of like our meetups. Like we got a line dance party that we do every week where with
Oh, that's nice.
the nice what Ollie be what Ollie from? I think Ollie from Chicago or Detroit or something like that. And he
baby.
yeah. He dope. He hosted every week. We got Cece. Cece has her own high vibes. I'm pretty sure y'all seen her on TikTok. She has a event business out here. She hosts beach parties and gatherings all the time. And they're kind of based around to support the culture. Like it's that little piece of home that you have out of the country. So yeah, community is there, you guys. You can't miss it. You go see now. You got a few black people. You say hi, like Roger said, and they look at you like you're talking to. But eventually you get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, that's real. I think it was the perfect place for me to start. And I was literally going to go to Medellin. That was familiar with Colombia. And then I was going to go to Playa del Carmen with you guys. But I realized I don't think I wanted to be in a beach town. And the community aspect, I got embraced here like relatively quickly. I kind of got like a cheat code. Everybody's been talking about the WhatsApp groups. They're not advertised publicly. You have to tap in with people like ourselves to,
Somebody that knows
you know,
somebody. I'm gonna
out-
send you the
Facebook groups. Facebook groups. You could start there. Different things. There's melanated. Put in melanated, enter where you want to go. Put in black, enter where you want to go. There's usually a group there. I asked you this a little bit ago, Jim, because I remember I was coming out there and I was like, do y'all have a group like Medellin? You were like, nope. So
Really?
what's that life like out there in Cartagena? Because I tell people all the time, depends on where you are. If you are in Cali, it's not Medellin. It is not Cartagena. All of these go completely different. And even though Cartagena is 50 minutes flight away, completely different, 180 kind of situation.
Yeah, it's very different. So there are some, WhatsApp groups and things like that, that people have. Honestly, I'm just not a part of them. I work a lot, and then when I'm not working, it's a lot of downtime. I'm trying to regroup and refresh, my business is like super busy, and then I have the US job as well. So I don't do a whole lot of socializing, so I'm not, really privy to those groups. There are some WhatsApp groups. It's not a really large, like, oh, this big black, expat group here. It's not really cohesive like that. You can even look on, Facebook if you do black expats in Cartagena, and there's no interaction on the post and, in the groups or anything like that. It's just not a real big thing here. So.
If you're looking at
Yeah.
this, do your research. Do your research. Check in with people, ask questions. I feel like most people, even if they don't know you, and you ask them a legitimate question about moving abroad, like you just DM them, they're like, "Who's this?" I'm like, "No, I had a question. I thought." Most people will give you a legitimate answer. It's not like there's like any type of gatekeeping going on, or people trying to keep the secrets and don't tell
Exactly.
nobody. Like, no, people are very open, because everybody understands. When you live out the country and you moved out, everybody made the same decision. Everybody has a different thought process, and you may need to get somebody to answer a question for you one time. So it's not like a karma thing. Like, let me do right by somebody I might not know, but I know that they're going to, help the community. You might find out that they may be a very integral part of the community. Just got it.
Another resource is, you guys, TikTok. I'm pretty sure like all of us on here, we create some type of content that shows our lifestyle and where we live. Like if you're more of a visual person, like hashtag expats, black expats living in Mexico. And you'll see people where we go to restaurants, how we mix and mingle, our lifestyle, our day to day. Like if you just want to see it from a point of view, I know a lot of people be like, oh, you know, the social media ain't real. I feel like for the most part, expats, we show our real life because we really enjoy our lives. Like we not putting on like if we going to go walk our dogs, like Deja, I'm using you for example. If we go and walk our dogs to go get our coffee, that's what we doing. Like we not putting on. That's what we do. We wake up. We live our life. It's a genuine thing when you see expats. I wouldn't really focus on those people who are like travel content creators. Like they go somewhere, they be there for a little while, and then they show you
They don't know.
places. Like truly look at real expats. Like so you can see their true lifestyle. Because I'm more of a visual person. Like you can get on these groups and you can see what the life is, where people hook up and things like that. But if you really want to see it, just tap into TikTok and look up expats. And
Absolutely.
most of the time, we be willing to answer questions. Like if you have questions, drop it in the comments, and you'll be surprised on how people respond. Or they'll be like, oh, or even have a private conversation with you. There are even people who offer services that help assist you moving out of the country. Like these are people who've been there for years and can put you in the right places with the right people. Because even the people that I've had conversations, their biggest thing is their safety. But I'm a single woman I've been living in Mexico for 5 years, and I've walked the streets of Mexico at 2 a.m. It felt completely safe. Like nothing. I've never felt threatened or anything. I've even had Mexican men walk me home just because, and not on some safety shit. Like you walking the same way, so am I. Let's have a conversation on the way there. Like it doesn't feel unsafe like you would in the States. You know what I'm saying?
It definitely comes down to the location for certain, where you guys are. Safety is definitely going to be something important because you run into it feeling a little too great. You're like, hey, this is really nice. Ain't nobody about to bust me over there and walking down the street or something like that. But that depends on where you are. In other locations, it might not be as friendly, but it also, I feel like a lot of times it comes down to what kind of attention you're drawing onto yourself, to be honest with you, what kind of things you're putting yourself involved with, where a lot of people, specifically in Medellin, they end up getting into some trouble. Whereas most of the people, I would say like 95, 98, 99% of expats that I'm in conversation with, they're not having these problems. They're, going out in groups and, they're just carrying themselves in a way where they're, safety first. We're not in America. So the likelihood of a mass shooting happening, probably very, very, very unlikely. Whereas petty crime, things of that nature, a little bit more. But for the most part, I think most people are in a safe situation because, they're doing what Jazz was saying, touching base with people that actually live here to give you a heads up. Like, hey, yo, maybe you shouldn't just go stand outside at midnight or waiting for your Uber. Why don't you just stay inside until it's actually outside? Like, little small things that can, determine what kind of experiences you have. Mexico, Cartagena, Medellin, doesn't really matter. But I know that I would definitely be remiss not to, get one of the biggest takeaways, because everybody on this call has been out of the country for enough time to be like, man, I wish I would have known this before I came, or at least prepare myself, try to give myself it would have been an easier transition. If you guys can give me maybe like one or two things, you're like, I just wish I would have known this. It would have made it easier. We probably covered half of them because you guys are talking from the experience of having gone through it, but kind of isolating it as a one or two liner and saying like, biggest takeaway from here, I need you guys to know this when you're looking or considering moving abroad.
Biggest takeaway for me, be open. Anybody who has issues, whatever they're talking about, I feel energy of closeness. And anytime I've ever had an issue with anything, at least when I got here, which hasn't really been a big issue, is more because my mind was closed, right? It was more, hey, the mechanic said he was going to be here at 1. It's 4:00 and the mechanic's not here. And it's like, wait, where are you? Oh, I'm on my way now. I just finished with the work that I was doing. So why you don't call me? Hello? Oh, sorry. And I was like, what do you mean you're sorry? I've been here waiting for you. Chill.
Tranquilo.
Be open.
Check you, see?
And fill yourself with, hey, it's not here at 1. It's all right. Just sometimes here, this tropical time. I don't know about Cartagena. I don't know about Colombia, but Mexico. Like, well, be open. If you're going to go to the bank, don't expect to leave at 12. If you get there at 10, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Just close off your whole morning and take a book and just wait for your turn to be called and be open. I think that anybody who decides to go back to the States or to leave and say, this is not for me, their mind is closed about one thing or another. And I feel like you are just open, you open your heart and you open your mind. It doesn't matter where you are. Things are just going to flow for you because the universe always works according to what you want. And if all you have in your mind is worry and close, there's more of that. But when you open yourself to different possibilities, then anything is possible.
Be very spiritual too in Playa. So if you on the spiritual journey, you trying to heal and all that, come to Playa. We got that all up and down the street.
Between you and Akeem, I get one Suge Knight quote episode. I just want to make sure that you know that. Akeem ain't here, so you pulled in for Suge Knight this time. If you want to, come get your spiritual journey on, come to Playa. Okay, Suge Knight.
It is. It's very spiritual. It's natural there. It's just there. Like a quote that the locals use. They say it in Spanish, but I don't know how to say it in Spanish.
I'll say it.
Okay. It's like if Playa is for you, it's for you.
Playa te adopta o te aborta. So basically, Playa either adopts you or takes you out.
Take you out.
What else?
Actually, the other word, but if in honor of Women's History Month, we're gonna stay away from it. But in Spanish, that's the term, right? Playa te adopta o te aborta. So either you come in and you get embraced and the land embraces you, or you come in and baby, the land will spit you right back out where you came from. Easy. Like this. Nothing will go right.
So I guess I'll say what my takeaway is. What now that we're in a more expat or living abroad era, doing your research, doing your proper research, like and really prepare yourself for the move. Like I know the excitement can sometimes get to people and they just up and go without a plan. But we've had so many people who come into the community and they run through whatever they have in such a short time because they didn't properly do their research or didn't properly prepare themselves. So prepare yourself, and learn the basics of the language of where you're going. Like even if you just Google translating just simple things like, where's this? What's your name? Just simple phrases to help you kind of get around because Playa is a little bit more English speaking because for the most part we kind of spread out, but most expats stay in like the tourism area. But just learning like simple things can help you get around. And though you may feel a little embarrassed, trust me, they embrace the fact that you're trying. So learning the language, doing the proper research, and properly prepare yourself are the three things that I would say that that are good takeaways.
No, I was just going to piggyback off of Jasmine because I think my biggest takeaway is, learn some of the language. Like I said, I came here with zero, knowledge. I didn't know any Spanish, but I think it would make your transition a lot smoother, a lot easier if you learn the language of the country that you're moving to. I mean, everything. So in Cartagena, like it's primarily Spanish speaking, very few people here speak English. You're going to be hard pressed if you go to a restaurant to find a menu in English. And I tell my girlfriend that moved down here recently, I tell her all the time, yes, they have tourism here, but they don't have to have an English menu.
Yeah.
It's up to you to learn their language. If you choose to live here, learn the language. It just makes things a lot smoother, a lot easier. So that's like really my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, honestly, like if you can figure out how to make money without being in the United States, that's 80% of the battle right there. So figure out a way to make money online. Go remote with your job. If you have an online business, or if your business is automated to the point where you don't really have to be there. But that's like number one. Like if you want to live abroad, the first thing you need to do is figure out how am I going to make money. I know some people move abroad and then they figure out the money part. Personally, I wouldn't do that. That's just too. I have a certain lifestyle that I like to live, and I don't want my money to run out. Okay, so figure out a way. I would say modestly. I'm gonna say if you're making at least $3,000 a month, you can live in Medellin. You can get an apartment for like $500 to $800, and then live off the 200, the other 2,000. Modestly, yeah, 3,000. If you want to live really nice, I would say it's 5,000 to 6,000. And you can get a nice high-rise apartment, on that salary. But figure out a way to make money, and everything else will fall into place. Everything else will fall into place. If you're trying to figure out housing, go Airbnb first. Get an Airbnb for 2 weeks. Scope out the area. Figure out what area you want to live in. Because when I first got here, I thought I wanted to be in Poblado. I hate Poblado. I would rather ever go back to Poblado or Provenza. Like I'm gonna just say Provenza. So, and I figured I don't really like the area. So I was able to, because I wasn't locked into a lease. I was able to stay here for a month, and now I'm in Los, but I've been in like 3 different neighborhoods of Medellin, and I really like Los. But if I would have got a lease in Poblado, I would have still been there and hated life. So get an Airbnb, 2 weeks, look around, and then figure out where you want to live at. But those are the 2 main things. So if you can do those 2 things, come on over here.
I want to add on, definitely having, even if you don't have a plan of what you want to do, having a savings, having something. having something, because I had something, but it ran out. And I was like, oh, shizness. Now I got 5 months. I got 5 months of rent. And that's all I got. But in that time, it didn't occur to me that until the last 2 months, I need to get a job. I need to get something because I'm running out of money. So if you have a job, thank you, Deja, for that. If you have a job and you are making $3,000 a month, you can live modestly. You know, if you can have more than that, that'll be amazing. Have some savings, because even though things don't cost that much money like America, it goes like this. It goes like this. I don't know what tipping is like in Colombia, but a little tip here, a little tip there, a little tip there. And for the month, I'm already tipping $50, $100. You know what I'm saying? But from my heart, because the Mexican people are amazing and that's what I want to do. But I got to keep that in mind. So having a savings account, maybe 5,000 if you can, to just hold you off, so that while you're working or while you decide to get something else and get some money, you have a cushion, because it can get really challenging. And even though there is community, I have experienced love from the community and support. And I also have experienced, I got to get it together and I got to get it done, because at the end of the day, we are the ones that are here and we are the ones that have to make sure to sustain ourselves. So definitely have some savings for sure if you plan to move abroad.
I do want to say something, and it may be a little bit controversial, but don't come down here taking these local jobs. Don't do it. We have so many opportunities that back in the States, it's disrespectful to the local community to take what the little that they have. I get it that people are trying to find like quick ways to make money. So like, for instance, the Nice is known for being a translator. It's so many people in the community who don't know the language, and she's very fluent. Stuff like that. If there's some way that you can take your skill set and offer it to either the locals or to the community, then do that. But don't take the little opportunity that they have in the community and try to make it your own, when we have so many opportunities that they don't have access to. So like, looking in the States for a job is probably your best bet. Or finding something. Like, for instance, I work with a lot of locals. I have my own businesses in Mexico, but all of my businesses, I have Mexican partners. I don't come in and appropriate the culture or anything. I always involve the local community, or I figure out a way that I can offer something to the local community and not take from it. And then cultural appropriations. Learn what's appropriate for their culture. Don't think because you American, you got priority and you can make demands of people because they don't have what you have. Like, if they tell you that their systems is right, like, one big thing that a lot of people get confused is the conversion of currency. And in these countries, a lot of these places, they don't go by the Google conversion. You can't pull that up and be like, oh, you trying to overcharge me. No, they have the right to say that, for us, 20 Mexican pesos is $1, or 15 Mexican pesos is $1. The best thing to do is ask, what is your conversion rate? And respect that. It's not causing you nothing but maybe 50 cents to $1 extra, if it's depending on what their conversion is. So just cultural appropriations, and also, figuring out how to make money without taking from what the local community has. So I just want to throw that
Wait,
out.
I want to add one more thing. The way things happen in America is not the way they happen in the rest of the world. So if you're coming from America, anywhere in the States, it goes back to my be open point. Just ask, how is this done here? Because if you come from America thinking, hey, this is how it's done, it's like, no, that's how it's done where you're from, not how here. And when I came, I had like a really big attitude because things were not done at appropriate time for me. And they were just like, just what it is. So if you don't like it, you can leave very quickly, or you can just accept it.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, you are in a new culture, and it's probably living out you know, for to be a black and brown person in the United States, I think is almost a culture shock when you go out of the country because you realize that they're not treating you necessarily like, oh, this is a black person, this is a brown person. They're like, that's an American. And which is hilarious because it's like you might not feel that. I know I can speak for myself, but I didn't really feel like, you know, I grew up in America and I was born here, but I didn't feel like America looked at me and it's like, this is the part of America that we want to highlight. Like, whereas when I came here, I'm like, y'all don't see me like a black person. Like, you black, I'm black, we black. No, they're like, no, you're American. Like, you are an American. And there's certain things that it's like, aha, it's like, aha moment. Got to catch yourself a little bit. You know, you know, Danays, you're from New York, right? So
Yep.
New Fast and the New York Minute, Philadelphia, I'm in Philadelphia, everything like this. I need things done. I'm not saying, hello, how are you? How's your day been? No, bro, I need this, and this. Can you get it to me by 5 p.m.? And the whole entire culture of the Latin culture is completely different than that. Nobody's in a rush. Jen, I hear your pain because, you know, I'm fighting. I broke out of the rat race of America, but I'm still in the rat race where I feel like my days of working are just long. And even though I'm in an environment where people are like enjoying life, and then look at, I mean, it's dark in there now, but I've been just sitting there jealous of the view behind you because I'm like, it's just so beautiful. You got the ocean there. And you can easily run into a situation where you're like, I feel overwhelmed because I didn't expect it. I remember walking down in Medellin and I'm like, is this what they feel like? Like, this has to be what they feel like, where it's like, okay, I can pay my bills and I have money, like more than money left over. Like, I can go out to a restaurant. Something bad could happen, like financially. And it's not like, oh, I might be homeless now because something bad happened. Like, that's a whole thing. But, you know, Jazz talked about it where it's like, don't come down here looking to get a local job at the Korea. Like, that's insane. Like, you know, realistically, and I know Akeem talked about this last episode, come here with a job that will pay you. That's one of the last things you need to worry about is how I'm going to eat, what's going to happen if you're in a whole nother country, buddy. Come here with stable income. That is the best advice that you can probably get outside of the openness. The openness is such an important thing because you are a guest. You are a guest in somebody else's country. No matter how long you live there, until you become a resident, and maybe even then, you're still a guest because you have the ability that you can go somewhere else. People that don't have the ability to go anywhere else, you're always a guest of where I am because this is where I'm from. And embrace the fact that you're in a melting pot in the United States because other countries are not necessarily a melting pot. There are not Chinese people and different, well, never mind Chinese, I actually down Chinese, and entire different kinds of Asian communities. And there's not a Dominican community over here, and the Colombians and the Hondurans and else. No, that's the United States. And it really hit me like recently, like, we got it kind of made when it comes to certain things, and to be a guest of somebody else's country and see these things a lot lower at a lower clip than it was. It's like, oh, we're here in the United States. Let's look over there. No, we're here and we can see all of these things and we're a part of these communities. So these conversations preparing you to come visit, take a look at living here, come visit, travel, you know, be both a responsible nomad, as responsible expat, as a responsible traveler. Even if you're there for 4 or 5 days, take some of these things and listen to them and apply them to, you know, your experience in these local places. Believe it or not, ladies, we are actually coming up on 7 o'clock. So it has been, I think, very informative. I think a lot of people are going to be able to look at this, kind of feel a little bit better about moving out. Push them over the ledge a little bit and say, okay, you know, I think Deja and them, they out here, they doing their thing. You know, make sure that you guys are taking from this conversation and going back and giving a little bit more. Telling them when you're on those lives that you do the virtual, you say virtual DJ?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm a virtual host.
Virtual host. Have some more of these conversations. And that's why I challenged Jazz the last time, like, give people more of a reason to see what they're not normally going to see on TikTok. TikTok is 1 minute of sensationalized things, and a lot of times the people that are living here, we all have to do a better job of just saying, like, this is what real life is like here. get a better understanding. These conversations are staged to be able to have these in our forum, but we all have, social media, just that's a part of our due diligence as far as of supporting the community that we are part of, both expat as well as local community. So I thank everybody for their time today, man. I think it was really important to be able to, hear from some Black women that are interested in giving information, getting education and inspirational things to people, and letting them know. Jump on my DM, holla at me. I'm open. I got an open book ready. So, this
It's
will
so
get
funny. Just a little side
talk to
thing.
me, Jess.
It's so funny, y'all. I know y'all don't know this, but me and Deja used to be college roommates in
I
freshman.
found that out
Well, we
randomly.
went to the same college. We met in college. We were roommates.
And we line sisters too.
And we line sisters.
That's
Oh, snap. Yeah, see, that's what I didn't know, but
fact
I
that
found
it's
that out in the
full circle
chat,
that
though.
we're on the same podcast talking about moving abroad is dope. I just want to
Nah, that is definitely dope. Now we're gonna have a good time. Listen, I'm coming out to Mexico. You already know, Jen. I'm coming to Cartagena soon. I wanna get a day in your life, like get some footage, just walk around with y'all, see what the life is like versus these conversations. These conversations are audio. We're here. You can see us visually, but let's give them a little bit more. So, I'll do my job in reaching out to you guys, scheduling time to come out there. I'm actually Mexico. I'll be there May 30th,
Well, love, just
May 29th, actually. So,
in advance and that's say less.
yeah. So we're gonna make this a lot more interactive because people need to see these kind of things and need to feel like real people are talking to them and talking about things that they're interested in. So thank you guys once again. We'll get this shot edited. And this is all gonna be women. So I'll add Akeem. We're gonna do a men's one later in the month once he gets back settled. But this is all about you guys and providing a platform for 4 talented individuals that have unique opportunities, things going on, unique experiences to give you what the real life is, the real deal. As Suge Knight Jazz says, like, you want spiritual healing? Come to fire. Like, thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good night, and I'm gonna talk to y'all soon.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure.
Bye, y'all.
Definitely.
Appreciate y'all.
Jennifer.